We got most powerful versions of Magneto. Let's go.
What's up, my comic comrades? Today, Villains Month rolls on with a look at the most powerful versions of Magneto to appear in Marvel Comics. The Master of Magnetism is easily one of the most popular and powerful villains Marvel has to offer, and over the years, this led to quite a few alternate and very
Magneto's
powerful
one of my
versions of him.
favorites,
So
for
we're gonna
sure.
highlight the top dogs in the bunch. But before we get started, we want to acknowledge the absolutely insane storms that have devastated so many people and families across Florida, the Carolinas,
out
and
to
several
all
other states. Right now, tens of thousands of our fellow Americans are still without power and are in need of food, water, and basic supplies. And many are struggling with the loss of their homes and much more. Our
Damn.
thoughts are with all of them, and we're actively looking for ways that we can help, both individually and as a community. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we highly encourage you to look for any way possible to be of service to those who have been affected. In these unbelievably wild times, we really need to help each other more than ever. After all, you never know when you may be the one that needs the helping hand. All right, diving into
That's
today's
true.
episode, first and foremost,
Help
we're going
out
to start
when
with the
you
main
can.
616 Magneto. He's an Omega level mutant and one of the most powerful beings on the planet Earth. We actually did an entire episode breaking down just how powerful 616 Magneto is in our How Powerful is Magneto episode, which you could find right here. But just to give you a taste of some of the stuff he could do, which we show you in that episode, in Uncanny X-Men 542, he transports a decommissioned US Navy carrier from San Diego that weighed around 97,000
Magneto
tons to
is
use as a
overpowered,
projectile
no matter
on
what.
Juggernaut. Or we have the time he balled up a satellite like a soda can and then ripped it from space in Magneto Rex issue 2. All because the United Nations
Classic
were spying
Magneto.
on him. Yeah, he's not someone you want to mess with. But 616 Magneto was a given, an obvious choice. So now let's get into some other powerful versions of the character, like House of M Magneto. This is an alternate reality created
House
by
of
the
M.
Scarlet Witch. So in the House of M reality, Magneto's powers are amplified more than ever because of the way his daughter, the Scarlet Witch, created the world. You see, she created it so mutants rule. They are the dominant species,
Hey,
and
we need to
humans are
see
now the
that.
minority being oppressed. And guess what? Magneto is the ruler of the mutants. So being the ruler of the mutants, the most dominant species in the world, automatically makes them the most powerful person on the planet. Mutants have all the power now, and Magneto is top dog of them all. Essentially, this is a reality where
Just like in
Magneto's
the X-Men
dreams come true.
series.
But being the leader of essentially the world also gives him massive power of influence and
Daredevil.
authority. He literally now controls all resources, military, and influence over nearly everything on Earth. Magneto's magnetism powers are also the strongest they've ever been in this reality, due to his daughter making this world so mutants thrive in all ways. Because of this, he could do everything we know him to do on a bigger scale, like controlling the electromagnetic spectrum, manipulating Earth's magnetic poles, creating force fields, lifting and controlling massive vehicles, structures, and more. All the House of M reality or universe really represents and shows us is a reality where Magneto has finally obtained his ultimate goal of overthrowing the humans and ruling the world with mutants. So yeah, I'd say this is an incredibly powerful version of the character. But before we get to the next powerful version of Magneto, we want to show you guys one of the coolest games out there. Yes, they are the sponsor of this episode, but I'm speaking from experience, because I didn't think Raid was anything special until I started playing it. Now it's my go-to, and I can tell you it's anything but just another mobile game. In fact, here are 3 big misconceptions about Raid. For entertainment, most big of until November 20th, carry simply by in the description, you will immediately reach our link again. Tim and from Earth 16 and Variant Nation. Okay, the next powerful Magneto we have is Ultimate Magneto from Earth 1610. Now, it could be argued that this version of Magneto is more powerful than the main 616 Magneto. Certainly way more ruthless. I mean, out the gate in Ultimatum issue 2, he kills Charles Xavier. Magneto literally snaps his neck on the last page of the issue after Charles tells Magneto, "You'll only be remembered as a madman." Because in this universe, Magneto was thought of as a full-blown terrorist. And that's because in this world, he used his incredible power of magnetism to shift the magnetic poles, throwing the world off its axis, in order to cause massive tsunamis, earthquakes, and all-around destruction on Earth, all for his ultimate goal of mutant supremacy. The real thing that makes this version of Magneto so powerful and threatening is that he's willing to cross the line at any given moment to accomplish his goals, while the 616 Magneto had more of a moral compass, or code, if you will. I mean, think about it. Like I just said, he killed Charles Xavier by snapping his neck, then stood over Charles' body, saying in the past, past, you've had a hand in every one of my failures, toppling the best laid plans. It had to stop. Then in issue 5, when Iron Man tries to blast Magneto, Magneto uses his power of magnetism to lift Wolverine in the air, using him as a shield from the blast, causing Wolverine to be reduced to nothing but skeleton and charred flesh. Magneto tells Iron Man, "You killed Wolverine," but Wolverine answers while trying to regenerate, saying, "Not yet." At which point Magneto rips the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton while saying, "Then die now," leaving nothing but broken, charred bone.
No.
So essentially, after Magneto killed Charles, Wolverine, and a bunch of people around the world, causing global destruction by messing with the magnetic poles, Cyclops is like, "Yeah, you're done," and kills Magneto by using his optic blast to completely incinerate his head. Yeah, this version of Magneto was so ruthless, the only way to stop him was to put him down permanently. That should tell you everything you need to know. Moving on, we get a version of Magneto from What If AVX issue 4, where Magneto merges with the Phoenix Force. Honestly, that's all I should have to say for you to understand how much of a power boost this gives Magneto. Anyway, halfway through the issue, we see Hope Summers, who is currently host for the Phoenix Force, starting to lose control. She literally says, "Magneto, the Phoenix is out of control. It wants to destroy everything. I can't stop it. Please help me." Magneto tells her, "Come here, child. Let me take away your pain." And he's being extremely literal as he steals the Phoenix Force from her and absorbs it as he says, "The power of the Phoenix Force is now mine." This is what Jean Grey felt like. The power Hope could not handle. Captain America then screams, "We all have to come at him at once." But this is Magneto with the Phoenix Force. So he just catches Captain America's shield like a frisbee, saying, "You cannot hurt me. I am fire and life incarnate now and forever," as he throws it back, slicing Captain America and Iron Man in half with Cap's shield. He then proceeds to hit the rest of Earth's heroes with his newfound power, declaring he is the Phoenix. He goes on to say, "This world is worthless and weak and no use to him anymore, and that he's probably gonna rip it in half or spin it out of orbit into deep space and watch it die slowly." But as he's about to use his new godlike power, Charles Xavier temporarily blinds him, saying he could only hold it for a few seconds, as the Hulk throws Wolverine into Magneto, putting his claws right through Magneto's head, killing him. Now, even though this was extremely short-lived, this version of Magneto is insanely powerful. And the only reason he was defeated so quickly is because, for once, the heroes didn't hesitate. Anyone who's been reading comics for a long time knows in order for the plot to move forward, writers always make the heroes hesitate or mess up at first, like Thor not going for the head. That way, the story could be drawn out and more dramatic. But here, for the sake of time, since this was just a what-if story, the heroes got straight to the point before Magneto could cause universal damage. Because Magneto with the Phoenix Force is one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel, full stop. I would love to see a story with him having it for more than 2 pages. But moving along, we have White King Magneto. This is Magneto when he joined the Hellfire Club. Now, for all intents and purposes, this is just your main Magneto who is now a member of the Hellfire Club. But because he's a member of the Hellfire Club, his power increases immensely. Not necessarily his mutant ability, being the master of magnetism, but more so his social and influential power. You see, the Hellfire Club is a secret international group of the social elite mutants who consider themselves superior to normal mutants. Their goal is to control mutants because they think they're the best of them, so of course they know better. They're essentially the billionaires of the mutants because you know how billionaires control everything in the world, right? And they think they know better than the normal society. Yeah, the same thing applies to the Hellfire Club. Anyway, once Magneto becomes a White King for the Hellfire Club, his access to resources and social and political influence grows immensely, as he is now backed by all of the Hellfire Club's connections and wealth. So in essence, this is just your normal 616 Magneto with all the wealth, resources, and connections he could ask for, meaning he's now more dangerous than ever. Of course, we have to mention Age of Apocalypse Magneto. In this world, as we know, or many of us know, Magneto leads the X-Men in a reality where Apocalypse has taken over everything and Charles Xavier is dead. So Magneto, being the good friend that he is like, I'm gonna carry on my friend's legacy and hopefully make a peaceful coexistence with mutants and humans, and I'll become the new leader of the X-Men. That's right, this is a more heroic version of Magneto, who becomes a symbol of hope for this apocalyptic universe, fighting Apocalypse's evil rule. This is kind of sort of what we saw X-Men 97 adapt, with Magneto becoming the leader of the X-Men after Charles Xavier's supposed death. And it was really cool seeing this in Age of Apocalypse. Magneto as the leader of the X-Men is just kind of awesome. And what's even more awesome is Magneto is the one who eventually kills Apocalypse. That's right, at the end of the story, Apocalypse is holding Magneto by the neck while saying, "This is no time to disappoint me. Fight back. Why won't you fight back?" Magneto tells him, "I can't. I'm concentrating." As Apocalypse says no. We then see Magneto was concentrating, gathering all his power to literally rip Apocalypse in half which he does. Magneto then stands over Apocalypse saying, for 20 years, you've gone on and on about how only the strong survive. Tell me again, Apocalypse, just how strong you are. Magneto then walks away as Apocalypse lays there bloody, saying, you were the mightiest of our race, Apocalypse. Suppose we'd be on the same side. Yeah. So the fact that this version of Magneto led the X-Men and then single-handedly tore Apocalypse apart, the mightiest of the mutants, means this version of the character is not to be trifled with. And you know I love my Amalgam Universe characters, so of course we gotta mention Magneto and the Metal Men. In the Amalgam Universe, Magneto is Eric Magnus, an amalgamation of DC's Will Magnus and Marvel's Magneto. So of course, since he's an amalgamation mixed with Will Magnus, he has Will Magnus's Metal Men, but they're called the Magnetic Men. So this version of Magneto still has magnetism powers, but also is a genius creating the Magnetic Men. The really cool thing is that the Magnetic Men are also amalgamations of X-Men characters and the Metal Men, which Magneto leads. This version of Magneto is pretty much the version we all know, except he merges his powers of magnetism with robots, given that he's mixed with Will Magnus. It's a fun take on the character, and I recommend you read Magneto in the Metal Men issue 1. But you know we gotta end this episode on a bang with the most powerful version of Magneto to ever hit the pages of a comic book, and of course that is Onslaught. He's a hybrid created from the minds of Charles Xavier and Magneto. We actually did an entire 17-minute long episode breaking down everything you need to know about Onslaught in this episode right here. But to give you the cliff notes, if you will, Onslaught is essentially the dark traits of Professor X and Magneto combined. And he is so formidable that the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and several other Marvel heroes had to sacrifice themselves to beat him. Yeah, this guy is a real problem. He has powers such as telekinesis, Xavier's telepathy, Magneto's magnetism, super strength, energy manipulation, and reality manipulation after absorbing Franklin Richards and Nate Gray. The fact that he absorbed both of those characters should tell you everything you need to know. But if not, he's such a boss. His appearance led to the Heroes Reborn reboot after all the heroes pretty much had to sacrifice themselves to beat him. What it all comes down to is this hybrid of Magneto and Charles Xavier is such a threat. He was the catalyst for Marvel's universe to completely reboot. But there you have it, friends, some of the most powerful versions of Magneto to ever hit Marvel Comics. Do us a favor, jump into the comments to let us know what your favorite version of Magneto is. And don't forget to download Raid Shadow Legends today using our link in the...
Y'all be sure to subscribe and like, comment. Thank ya.